break into rich people's homes. I'll go in and I will always try to target the master bedroom or an office. The master bedroom, of course, jewelry and things in there, but usually in the closet is where I know that there's like the money or a little safe or things like that. It's really surprising how much of the same kind of things rich people do. It's like they all have these little safes. They hardly ever lock it. They, just the same types of behavior. So I kind of knew what to look for and what to do. I could get it in and out pretty easily. I had my car, which was my personal car, which was a Mercedes. I also had some stolen license plates that I had stolen.
I was just going to ask that. Was it registered to you?
Yeah. So the Impala was registered to me. It was mine. But I had stolen license plates that I had stolen several, like throughout a period of, 2 weeks or so, just taken from here or there. And I would put that over I just put it right on top of my license plate, literally with tape, with big duct tape. Just put 2 big things behind and slap it on and just cruise on out. Try to make sure I drive safe. I surprisingly never got pulled over, not once. Break into rich people's homes. I know how rich people live. They always have like a little bank envelope somewhere in their house because an emergency is going to happen in Florida. And maybe they have more valuable things. And I know that I'm not going to look out of place in a neighborhood like that because I can make myself fit in. I wore shoes that were always a size too small or a size too big. And I always tied my hair back really tight, and I had gloves. I figured if I had all that, I was at least good. It was like the starter kit. I went in and I told the guy at the supply store, my home's on fire and I need to get out a window and I can't break it. Do you have something that can break it? And he showed me this little like thing, and it had these 3 little tools. I just figured I'd use all of them whenever I could, however I could. My whole point was not to separate the magnets on the alarms. But now we have motion detectors. How do we make sure that the motion detectors aren't going to detect me? Well, they need to have an animal. If they have an animal, the animal's walking around. Rich people, they have a golden doodle or a Frenchie or a lab walking around, and he's wagging his tail even if you're burglarizing their home.
Right.
So I just needed there to be some kind of animal, and then I knew that the motion detectors would be off. Okay, animal. Check. How am I going to know if there's an animal? Okay, look for things. Toys outside. Little water bowl. Look through a window. Rich people, you will not believe how so many rich people have the little sign right on the front door, right by the doorbell, right by the freaking handle of the front door. It says, in case of an emergency or in case of fire, rescue my dog or cat. And now I don't even have to look because you just told me Willie's in your house walking around. Then I'm like, okay, I'm going to ring the doorbell and I'm going to, hopefully nobody answers. But if somebody answers, what am I going to say? I'm going to say that I'm there to pick up the dogs for the doggy day out. So they'd answer and I'd be like, hey, I'm here to pick up, Willie and Rufus for their doggy day out. I'm the transportation. And they'd be like, you have the wrong house. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. Let me go call my boss in the car and check. And then I'd wave. You doing something bad is the last thing on their mind. Right. Because everyone thinks a criminal is going to be hiding and sneaking and, doing all this creepy, shady shit. And so I tried to do the opposite. If they didn't answer the door, now what am I going to do? I need to find one of those windows. But I would try to find homes that had like privacy fences or a lot of shrubbery and things like that, something that could hide me. So if I found all that, I would go to the backyard and I would find a window. I would tap them a lot at first to see, like some windows you could feel, man, were like solid, thick windows. And some windows were just, you could tell they were flimsy. Like you'd knock on them and they, would wiggle. I kind of try to feel which window. When I would find the window, I would knock some more. At this point, I'm still going around and I'm knocking on all these windows, like in the backyard, sliding glass door and everything, because I want to make sure like, okay, maybe you were in the shower. Maybe you had headphones on. I want to like knock some more. But now I have to have a different story, because if I'm in your backyard knocking for Willie and Rufus, that's just creep as hell. So at this point, I would say to them, hey, my friend, my coworker, she asked me to come check on her mom, Miss Martha, because Miss Martha's not answering the phone and she's really worried about her. And she didn't have a break, but I did. So I'm just here to check on Miss Martha. That's why I'm knocking like a crazy person. Miss Martha, Miss Martha. And I did run into people sometimes and they would be like, oh, you have the wrong house. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Everything's done by inventory. You get a stack of cups. You get 50 cups. You get 50 popcorns. You get 50 this. So when you're done, you get another 50, then they just, boom, okay, we know we just sold 50. That's how they do it. It's just inventory on the actual items you're selling. He said, well, the way they do that is not by the syrup, not by the popcorn. They do it by the actual container. So what we do is whoever goes and gets the garbage, grabs the garbage to take it out, pulls out all the used cups and all the used popcorn containers, and we stack them up and then we wash them out and we stack them up and we sit them back there. He goes, so we sit there, and whenever somebody comes in, and if they give you exact change, like, okay, it comes to $20, and they pull out cash, you take the 20, you reach under, you grab one of the used ones, you get them the popcorn, you get the 2 sodas, and you give it to them, and they leave, and you pocket $20. If I was opening a bank account in somebody's name, like I would go make a fake ID and go open up a bank account in the name of Brandon Green. I'd go in, give them the ID, walk in, sit down. They would pull up Brandon Green. I've got a social security number for him, everything. Not a stolen identity. It's a synthetic identity. Let's say they pull them up and they would go, huh, you don't want to hear, huh. And I just sat there. I mean, everything in me is like, run. I didn't say, what's going on? What's wrong? I was like, everything okay? And she was like, yeah, it's weird. It says fraud alert. It says you've never had a bank account. Have you ever had a bank account? I said, with my ex-wife, I think we opened it like maybe 5 or 10 years ago, but I'm pretty sure she closed it. And she's looking at me and I'm looking at her. What do I mean? I don't want to keep running my mouth. I'm just going to get myself in trouble. I don't know what she's looking at. And then she goes and does this with the ID, to see the hologram. I made the ID. Yeah. So I'm like, oh my God, what is she doing? And she goes, hold on, gets up, goes across the bank, talks to her manager. Her manager comes out. She holds up the thing, looks at it, looks over at me, says something. They have a conversation. She goes, yeah. Walks over, sits down. She says, okay, do you want a gold plan or the silver? She opens it. I never talk again. I sign the documents. I get my stuff. I leave. Group of Mexicans come and put a new roof on the house, and they charge $900. So you put $900, but you don't put it all the way on the line. You put it farther back. So you go to give them the thing. You go, hey, you know what? Are you going to deposit this? Like, are you going to go cash it? I can cash it. I got the cash right now. And they go, yeah. I'm going to cash it. I go, well, you want me to cash it? Yeah. Okay, well, here, sign the back of it. Whatever your whatever numbers you have for your license, if they have a license, write your license number, whatever, your social security number, whatever, but write over all things so that I can 1099 you at the end of the year. Yeah, no problem. These roofers and stuff, and they're not licensed, so they're never going to claim any of this money. So I can 1099 them. So I give them $900, take the check, and I write $3,900. And then I go deposit it. Comes out of my business account into my personal account. And it looks like I just wrote him a check for $3,900. And the next check, I do the same thing. $500, $4,500, $800, $1,800. Everybody thinks they're like a tough guy, like don't commit the crime if you can't do the time. Isn't that catchy? Mm-hmm. If you go and you commit a crime and you think, well, what's the most you can get for this? And you go, I'll probably get probation. And they say you're getting 10 years. Now what? I'll do it. You say you'll do it because you haven't had handcuffs on you. You haven't spent 3 months in a jail cell. You haven't seen what you're going to be around the whole time. You haven't seen that all your buddies already stopped talking to you. And if you're gone for 3 months, you lose your house. Your wife is calling you with your little kid sitting in the visitation room, crying her eyes out, begging you, don't you care about me? Don't you care about your son? What about your daughter? Don't you care? All they want you to do is cooperate. Those guys. Everybody's a gangster sitting at the table with their buddies, but when it comes down to it, it's not that easy. And your buddies that you're protecting are all taken off. They're all talking shit about you. They don't answer the phone. They don't nothing. So it's like, the whole Omerta thing, right? Like The Godfather, the Omerta, it doesn't really exist. My PSI, it was 32 years to life. And I went, I'll go to trial. My lawyer's like, what? And I said, I can prove a lot of these enhancements aren't true. And I probably get myself sentenced to something a lot lower. So she calls the prosecutor. Prosecutor actually has the Secret Service agent come down with my pre-sentence report to a meeting with my lawyer and the Secret Service agent. We go over my PSR. She's like, okay, well, what do you think doesn't apply? And I'm like, this one. She's like, okay, this one, okay. And while we're there, my lawyer actually says, well, we can get rid of these 2-level enhancement because you can't charge him with like taking advantage of a vulnerable victim and charge him with over 50 victims. I immediately thought, what did you just do? You just cost me like 3 years. Why wouldn't we just get it as far down as we can? And when you go in and have the U.S. attorney agree to it at sentencing, then go in front of the judge and say, Your Honor, by the way, you also have to remove these 2 levels because you can't charge him with both of these enhancements.